So, the cracking. All that cracking probably occurred over the years since fire damage was repaired in 1960. At that time, and for years since, elastomeric paint has been used. Not only in 1960, but was again used during repairs after Hurricane Hugo in 1989. Elastomeric paint is a strong, long-lasting, watertight coating. The benefits of the paint, in theory, are great. In our situation, it ended up creating a setting well-suited to rust metal.
Kind of a general view of what all the wood on the front looked like, the peeling paint all on the top of there.
The bell tower masonry took in moisture over the years, and the elastomeric paint, effectively a plastic coating, kept the moisture from being able to evaporate. That held moisture likely exacerbated the rusting of the embedded steel rods in recent decades.
There was steel running down through this section. The steel had rusted and pushed a section of the wall out. And so there was a big void here, and all this was put back in. There's actually a piece back here. This is what's left of it, but when we found it in the wall, it was about this big with rust, and this is what's left at the center of that, so not much left. And there was steel on either side of these round windows, on this side and on the front and on the other side, but not on the back for some reason. So here's where the worst part of the damage was. And you can see a significant void that's being repaired back. And again, there was steel running down through here that actually cracked this part of the wall. But these guys are piecing it back together, putting a little stainless steel reinforcement in it, making it whole again. These were temporary steel structures we added to hold the wall while they were disassembling to make sure nothing big fell out, because it was that damaged.
There are 4 steel rods placed within masonry of the tower. They would have supported a taller steeple if ever one was added.
Still going to stick out a little bit, but you know, you can see we've gone back to solid brick and we're tying back into all that. So there will be a little bit of a bulge, but nothing like it was. To completely remove it, we'd have to probably go back 2 feet or so into the wall and rebuild the entire thing, and that's way more than we're looking to get into, and way more than what's needed.
The walls of the bell tower are 90 inches thick.
Before we added the structure on the bottom, this whole crown was floating up here. Couldn't move around up here, but we're starting to disassemble it all now. And a lot of the work we did went on up there.
Also, the fire damage to the interior roof structure has been repaired, either using the original material, if it was sound, or new boards that match the old wood.
Some light going up there. So this was an existing deck here, and it was slightly damaged during the fire from embers falling down on it. But we added a little more work area up here because we had to remove a lot of the roof framing, and so this is some of the new framing. The fire department wanted new ladders up here. We did have old wooden ladders, which and with some broken rungs and some 2x4s to step on. So we've gotten some new ladders up here.
The contractor has sourced old growth pine boards of the same dimensions to make the structure historically correct and in good repair.
So you can see the brighter yellow wood up here and on the roof, and some of these framing members, all that's new. We replaced everything from here up as fire damage, and then some of these other members had some insect damage, and while we were up here working, we went ahead and replaced those. The king post where the weather vane mounts, it ended up needing to be completely replaced. And there's a sprinkler head right up here next to it now to protect it in the next fire. But the timbers that it sat on, this was insect damaged, and so it was replaced too. And then the engineer decided to add some steel collars to it. But we still have mortise and tenons up here. We had a group of timber framers that did this work, and so now it met our structural design standards. And
one of the largest complications in the last fire was the inability of water to get to the needed locations during that fire.
This sprinkler system right now has no water in it at all. The street pressure pushes the weight of the water up about 70 feet off the ground, and this is about 135 feet off the ground. So about half of this bell tower has no water pressure in it at all, and it never did have any pressure because the city pressure wasn't higher than it is now back in the 60s when this system was put in. But what we are adding as part of our as part of the insurance repairs is a sprinkler pump that will go in the boiler room, and it will, if any sprinkler heads are triggered like this one was when the actual fire happened, this sprinkler head actually triggered, but there was nothing to come out. Literally the sprinkler head popped and nothing came out of it, and it just kept burning. This fire was put out by firemen carrying portable pressurized water cans all the way up these ladders and stairs. So next time, hopefully there won't be a next time, but if there is, all these sprinkler heads, there's 7 of them in this area right here, and all these will work, and on the next several levels down, they will all work once our sprinkler pump is installed and running.
Pretty much everything you see now is historically correct and in good repair. But things, certainly after the fire, weren't either of those things. Workers had to remove 2 layers of old roofing with underlayment that was difficult to remove. In places, the crew had to chisel up the coverings inch by inch. The roof coverings is the same material as the old one, sheet copper and white coating to prevent green patina from staining the tower.